All right, so seems my generator, well, due to laziness, I didn't crank it up and fell victim to the ethanol in our gas now. I have a problem with it. So here's where she goes. And as you can see, I pulled it because I am not going to be on my knees trying to work on my generator. So, unfortunately, I don't have a workbench. So, my golf cart is substituting for my workbench. So, I'm going to crank this thing up and I'll show you what it's doing. And we'll read the fault code, and then I'll show you what they suggest. Onan suggests. So stand by. Alright, so I basically I'm using one of my batteries from my golf cart. So I got that on my solenoid for my starter, and that one's to ground. So I'll prime it first because I disconnected the gas. Can you hear the fuel pump going? Alright, let's see if that's enough. We'll find out very shortly. Nope, need a little more gas. I just want to give you an example of what this thing's been doing. That's exactly what it's been doing. Starts up, but doesn't do anything. So here is your fault code light. So push the primer button. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got fault code 14. And if you come over here and you look, hold on, and let me see if I can find fault code 14. It's hard to do and videotape at the same time. Hold on. Alright, fault code 14, over frequency. This code tells you that the engine is running too fast, and the sources for this code could be one of the following reasons: air leak at the intake, carb, and linkages not properly installed, misadjusted, governor broken. So, it's just not one thing that could cause it. It's several things. But I thought it was the carburetor, right? So what did I do? I went the cheap route and bought this $60 carburetor off the internet. And now I've read some bad stuff about getting cheap stuff off the internet. So I went ahead and I ordered a Onan carburetor, which was $300. So I'm going to go ahead and change out the carb and all the linkages because I bought new stuff, and that was really cheap. And the thermostat back here. And we'll see. I'm basically throwing parts at it, but we'll see. I'm pretty sure it's a carburetor, but I did buy a fuel pump just in case, since I have it out, I could change the fuel pump out too. Because working on this thing inside where it mounts to your camper is not fun. So here we go. I'm going to start working on this sucker. Alright, so the first thing, I took the air filter off, and you got to get to those 2 bolts down in there. So, trust me, I've done this with it installed, and it's not fun. So, I would rather pull this generator and have it out in the open. So, I'm going to go ahead and pull those bolts, which come through. They go all the way through the carburetor. There's one of them right there, a little rusty. And they connect right into there. Obviously, I got to take the fuel line off. And I got to take this connection off right here that goes to a little electric plunger in the float bowl. So, there we go. We'll go ahead and do all that and we'll get back to you. Alright, carbs off. Trust me, it's easy with it sitting right out here, but it's a bear to do install. So now, the first thing I'm going to do is change this spring. And I got all genuine Onan parts. And we're going to do this first. Then I'll go ahead and put my carburetor back on. And we'll go from there. So since I have it out, I'm going to change that spark plug out right there. And of course, they couldn't put things in a worse place. Can you imagine trying to do this with it installed? Now I got to take that the black cover off just to get to the spark plug. Oh Lord, I got to videotape this, right? So you start backing out the spark plug. And now I can't even get my socket off because I got no room. But I'll figure it out. But that's the craziness of this generator. Maybe I should have just took it in and been done with it. But let's see what happens. Persistence pays off. A hint. Just use this part and a wrench. Don't hook your socket, your ratchet up to it, or you'll have problems like I did. But, alright, spark plugs out, and removing this black case, I couldn't even do it anyway. So, there's a big enough hole in there to get to the spark plug. Phew! Alright, slowly going. Whew! You know, that spark plug came out hard. And it's going to go in hard. Look, I could barely get my hands in there. Actually, I got to start out with my hands upside down. Feed that sucker in there. Try to find a friggin' hole. Ow! Well, I'm not going to be able to videotape this. Alright, I'm going to stop. I think I got. There's the elusive spark plug hole. But I can't use this mirror and get to that hole at the same time. I just got to take a visual picture of it and hopefully get the plug in there. But it ain't user friendly. Boo! Again, persistence pays off. That rates right up there to one of the hardest spark plugs I ever had to change out. Whew! Unreal. So far, I'm not digging the Onan generator. So when all this started, I did take it to Camping World, and they were going to change the carburetor out. But I guess they couldn't get the bolts out, so then they tried to drill them out. And you see what they did to my hole right there, right? So my camper was there for over 2 weeks. I said, man, we're coming to get our camper so we can go camping. And they were like, well, don't try to start the generator, right? So I was like, all right. Figured they didn't change the carburetor. You know, maybe I'll do it at home. So I was trying to get my new carburetor on while it was installed in the camper on my knees, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get the bolt in. And then I realized, oh my God, look what they did. So I had to order a new one. So I got the new one in, right? And I installed it, and I might have discovered my problem. There was no bolt in here on the new one that came, but the old one had a bolt in there. So it was probably pulling too much air in, and maybe my carburetor, my $60 carburetor, was all right. But now I took the bolt out of here, I'm gonna put it in there, and now I am gonna start putting her back together. And look what I had to do. I had to smash some of that out because I couldn't even get this out. It's such a tight fit. I couldn't even get the bolts out. So maybe I just discovered the problem. We're gonna find out. But I am gonna put my $300 carburetor back on and all my other parts. So hold on and we'll press on. There it is. I don't know. I'm gonna throw it back in the camper. Hopefully it's gonna do what it's supposed to do. We'll find out. If not, I'll be taking it in and telling them, junk it. All right, that was a lot of work. What I did was I just tied that door up. I don't have a latch to hold it up. And it's a real tight fit going in there. You can see the scratch marks from when I took it out. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts. Couple wires. Fuel line. And we'll see how it goes. Alright. You see how friggin' tight it is? I found it the best. Just push it in. And then once I get it in there, I'll get the floor jack back under it and raise it up. But here's what I gotta do. I'm pretty sure you heard it. Doesn't sound very pretty, but it's there. Now, to get the floor jack back under it. Yeah. Ooh, dang. Well, I'm getting there. Got the bolts in. They're in there, but loose, so I can get this side. Whew. I'm only bleeding in like 1, 2 spots. That's pretty good. Well, when it tries to put a load on, it wants to take a crap, and it's got something to do there. That's what it's got something to do with. It's not giving it enough juice. It wanted to. I gotta research that now. I know it's just minor adjustments. Oh, fun, fun, joy, joy, happy, happy. Man, of course it's gonna cut out because the generator's not putting out the right frequency. Ugh, more fun. All right, so you know it was cutting off. So basically, the governor's back there. And you see that screw back there? I had to adjust the governor, and I had to make sure that screw was in its proper place. So now we're going to go ahead and crank it up and see what happens. We'll prime it. Sounds good and primed. Alright, so now I'm going to leave this out. I'm going to go turn the air conditioner on and see if it can handle the load. That was the load from the air conditioner, and it's looking like I am good to go.